What is abundance, and what does it mean to manifest it? Think about a time in your life when you lost something that represented abundance. Perhaps you lost some possessions or a large amount of money due to your own actions or decisions, or perhaps through no fault of your own. Regardless of whatever that loss might be, the question now is, do we resign to this loss, or do we try to replace it? In fact, it is not a question of either or. If you lost a house and you don't resign yourself to it, then you suffer. You build up negativity, and then all the action you take is based on negative reactions. You can work very hard, and perhaps you'll recreate the same level of abundance again, but it's not a pleasant experience to go through. So the first step is always acceptance of what is, and then you are free to go from there. Accepting the loss and accepting that nothing in this world is permanent. Life in its essence consists of gain and loss, sooner or later, and you find that you will eventually have to let things go. When you do accept things as they are, then a choice emerges. If you enjoy the creation of abundance in your life or in the world, whatever that might be for you, you have a choice to keep on going. Why not carry on doing it? If you take this attitude, you may find that even after a loss, you will quickly recreate the same type of abundance. However, if you insist on going against your intuition, doing something you don't enjoy doing, or doing it for the wrong reasons, then you may find this to be a source of continued unhappiness in your life. So sometimes a loss of things in your life can seem like a step backward, but actually challenges us to re-examine the way we are living. You may find that what you were doing before was just a means to an end, and now you have the opportunity to step back and see whether that means to an end was truly necessary. It's a convenient point to start something new if you wish to do so. Perhaps you worked for decades building something up and have lost it. This is a chance to ask yourself, do I want to work for another 2 decades to get it back? Do I enjoy it? If I do enjoy it, then why not? The important point is to realize whether what you are doing is primarily a means to an end, or is it primarily an end in itself, as the great teacher Eckhart Tolle advises. If it's an end in itself, that means there is intrinsic enjoyment in the activity itself. If not, then there is a lack of enjoyment and a lack of harmonious doing. And this is a pathway to unconsciousness. When you aren't living intentionally, or when you don't realize that there is a choice, you can be unhappy without even knowing it. Many times when we follow the path of least resistance, we are actually living unintentionally and unconsciously. This can be a habitual state, and it can make you wonder, why am I so unhappy? Why does nothing seem interesting? Often the answer to this question has something to do with how you spend your time, whether you are living intentionally or not, whether you are making the choices that best serve your life and your state of mind. So in every moment, be reminded that there is a choice, and this applies to whatever you do. The scenario of losing what you have gained is just one example, but in every moment, you have the choice to decide consciously and intentionally on your course of action. Sometimes we find ourselves impatient or stressed in the middle of an ordinary life situation. Being conscious that this is happening is the first step. The next step is to take responsibility for how to perform your next action. If most of the actions or thoughts you have are of a low quality, in that you aren't really intentionally or consciously choosing them, then you will always be unsatisfied at what the moment brings. On the other hand, if you pay attention, then you can turn it into a high-quality moment in exactly the same situation. When you are surrounding yourself with a certain environment, you might be tempted to point out the flaws in that environment, whether it's the city you're living in or the people you have in your life, and you can blame them for the way you feel about yourself. Maybe there's too much pollution, or maybe there's too much traffic. Maybe the friends you have are making you unhappy on a regular basis. This is actually exacerbated when you are living unconsciously or unintentionally, because you are just going with the flow of whatever is around you, without knowing that you have a choice. If you are more aware of the present moment and of how you are feeling in it, you can choose to do things that go against this negative cycle, For example, you might decide to go outside on a nice day, even if it's rare. You might decide to do some exercise in the morning before the traffic gets going. You might decide to refrain from meeting with negative friends, even though they are always calling out for you. The hallmark of these choices is that they all require some level of change, some level of choice. And to do this requires you to be conscious and intentional. So when life throws you a curveball, sometimes it's a chance for you to re-examine how you are living. Are you living consciously, or are you predominantly living unconsciously? Do you have a sense that you are happy with your life, despite whatever circumstances you might be in? Or do you feel mostly depressed about your life situation? If you answer these questions and think about the choices you actually do have, this could be the start of an inner transformation that leads to a manifestation of abundance rather than scarcity.